everyone, Ashlyn here with Minister for Happiness, and welcome to this week's story time. As always, I'd like to start by saying well done for giving yourself the time and space to listen to this week's story and to take the little life lesson into your week ahead and the rest of your life. And I'd also like to add that if you're watching and listening to these stories and have done over the last while, or even if this is your first time listening to one of the stories, you're obviously the kind of person who's looking to grow and expand your mind and to improve your life in all of the most wonderful ways. And don't stop at these stories. Go looking for that content that helps you to grow and expand. Look for those people who are wise, who are interesting, who tell stories, who have experiences to share that can teach us things to help us live our best lives. Because I do that every day, and that's why I believe in stories so much, because they teach us lovely lessons without feeling like we're preached to. So this week's story is about it's a very interesting story actually, about a man called Frankel Pierce. And the story goes that Frankel Pierce, as a teenage boy, was flunking out of high school. So he was in America. And his mother, a single mother who was trying to bring him up, really wanted him to succeed in life. And he just had no interest in high school, had no interest whatsoever. But he did promise his mother that he would sit the SATs. I don't know much about the SATs. I know that they're exams you take in the United States, and they're, I think, half verbal, half written. And it helps you obviously to see, it's kind of like an IQ test. And he promised his mother he'd take this, he'd sit the SATs, so he did. And he sat the SATs, and a few weeks later he got his results, and he ended up getting 1,480 points out of 1,600. Now, just to give you a bit of perspective, that is what we would know as cognitive dissonance. So like really, really clever, like genius level, prodigy almost. It's like just not really heard of to get that high on a regular basis, not to mention someone who was flunking out of school. So of course his mother, questioned him and said, did you cheat? And he said, look, mother, honestly, I tried, but there was no way. The way the papers were set up, the way the exam questions were, everything about it, he said, if I wanted to, I couldn't have cheated. Honestly, I didn't. So this was a massive changing point for Frankel, because he started to question, if I'm this clever, then maybe, there's more for me in life. And he started to turn up to his classes. He started to change the people he hung out with. He started to pay attention. And then his teachers, who, generally were disrupted by his presence in the class, started to notice he was paying attention. And they started to give him, a chance. They started to look at him differently and want to bring him along and encourage him. And his whole life started to change. He ended up going to college, then Ivy League, and then becoming one of the most successful magazine entrepreneurs the world has ever known. So you'd probably think, that doing the SATs made him realize he was a genius and that he had this potential. But that's not the best part. 12 years after he finished high school and after he finished college, and he had gone off to start his business, one day he returned home from work and his wife said there was a letter from Princeton. And she encouraged him to open the letter. It turns out that the SATs he had sat 12 years previously, the SAT boards would, periodically review the way that they graded and the way that they questioned people on the SATs. And that year that he sat the SATs, he was one of 13 people who had been sent the wrong results. He didn't get 1,480, he got 740. And the interesting thing here is that it's not how intelligent somebody tells us we are on a piece of paper. It's what we believe ourselves. And then beyond that, it's how we behave. Your behavior precedes everything. If you want to be successful, you have to change your behavior. Frankel Pierce started to behave like a 1,480 SAT student. He started to behave in ways that allowed him to learn. He started to pay attention. He started to show up. He started to believe in himself. His behaviors and his belief matched up. And all of us have the potential to do that in any area of your life. whether it's, you know, school, college, going back, returning to education, learning an instrument, learning a language, starting a business, you know, looking for that relationship, looking to build your finances, looking to start from scratch after maybe a rough time in life, like the last few months for a lot of people. Your behaviours now are what's going to determine your future. And you've got to believe you are as valuable as you want to be, because that's how it begins, just like Franklin Pierce. So I hope this story this week imparts a life lesson for you, and maybe you got something else from it that I didn't, you know, so maybe put a comment in here. I'd like to learn more too, and I'm always open to that. So please do share any insights you have. And as always, like and share this video this week. You never know who it will benefit. You never know who may need to hear these words and hear this story. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel, please. And we'll get those numbers up, and we'll share more of the good stories and encourage people to keep growing and expanding. Because the more you work on yourself, the more you fill yourself up, the brighter and lighter you become to all those around you as well, and you inspire them too. Until next Sunday, have the most wonderful week. Stay healthy, and most importantly, stay happy.